Welcome to the Please Suck Less podcast, a podcast where I voice my opinions and views about things that piss me off and how we can make the world suck just a little bit less. Thanks for listening. So what's loyalty to your company? First of all, you need to define, what your company is. So what I mean by that is, where do you work? Do you work for an organization? Do you work for, fire service, hospital? Are you in the military or whatever? So when we talk about loyalty, or when I talk about loyalty, I mean, what do you owe the organization that you work for? But also, what does the organization owe you? I've heard, and there's one thing that kind of ticks me off. Well, it doesn't kind of tick me off. It pisses me off when I hear people in the fire service trashing their organization, talking about, the organization is mismanaged, or the fire chief sucks, or he doesn't know what he's doing, or morale's low, or we're going the wrong direction, or the people that they're hiring suck, or whatever. It's always this negative, negative, negative. And I understand to an extent, you can have bad bosses and things like that. But I try to tell people, this is how I live. How can I make the organization better? You know, what do you owe the organization? Well, they hired you and you're getting a steady paycheck. I mean, if your pay is not coming in or they're not paying you, that's a problem. You need to find another company. But we'll talk about the fire service because, I'm very familiar obviously with that. But, what do you owe your organization, your fire service? Well, you owe them a lot because they did hire you. And we say it 1,000 times, best job in the world. Is it possible that we work for people that are not good? Yeah, there are bad bosses out there, bad chief officers, bad supervisors, absolutely. But at the end of the day, the question that I ask myself, if I find myself feeling that, hey, our organization's going the wrong way, or this is starting to piss me off, what can I do at my level to make it better, to try to make it better? Now, I'm fortunate that I'm in a senior staff position where, I have the ear of the deputy chiefs and the fire chief, and I can bring them information. Hey, this is what I'm hearing. Maybe we can move this direction. I have the opportunity to make change, maybe not large wholesale changes, but maybe bring some insight or some of the things that I see to the table, and then maybe we can make changes. And I've been able to do that in our organization, where I came from, where I retired, and where I'm currently working now. I work with good people, and I try to make it so it's good for everybody in the organization, career and volunteer. But you have these people out there that are just constantly, they're the people that are never happy. These are the people that you can't satisfy. These are the people that if you gave them $100 bill, they'd be pissed off because it was a $100 bill and not in 20s. So you're not going to make these people happy. And these people that are out there that are constantly trashing the system and how things are terrible are the ones that are, like I have said before, they're the chain around your neck, the anchor that's dragging the system down. I point blank challenge those people. What are you doing to make it better? Before you start to throw your complaints and your bitches out there, what are you doing to make it better? And if the answer is, well, it's not my responsibility or anything like that, then I have no use for you. And the best thing that you can do, in my opinion, is put your resignation in and leave. If you're that miserable, go away because you're making other people miserable. Now, if you are trying and you're meeting resistance, my advice to you is to find like-minded people that truly love the job, feel that the organization can be better, and then get together and start pushing out information or putting out ideas of how to make the organization better. There is strength in numbers. That's not a cliche. That's the real thing. If one person is bitching about something constantly, and nobody else is backing them up, that person is going to be viewed as poison to the organization, or somebody that just constantly is whining and carrying on. But if it's a group of people that are articulating their issues with intelligence, as opposed to just crying and carrying on, then you will see that you would get the ear of management and maybe push forward changes, or at least you would be able to get a sit down and let them listen. And once you have their ear, be respectful. You know, tell them what you see and how things can change, and with respect. And you'll find, another cliche: you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. If you present your arguments intelligently and with facts and not emotion or not feelings, you'll see that you'll be able to slowly make change. But I overhear these people that just constantly trash their organization, and it irritates me. When I first got to my new job, I had people walk by my office. Hey, welcome to here. Hey, just to let you know, we're 20 years behind where you came from. I constantly hear that. Oh, we're a handful of years behind where you came from. And after about the fourth or fifth time somebody told me that, I told them to have a seat and let's talk. I want to talk. And I asked that particular person, I said, you say you're 20 years behind the organization that I retired from. So let me ask you a question. Is the apparatus that we're riding around in modern? And the answer, of course, was yes. I said, what about the hose lines and nozzles? Are they modern? Are they decent? Are they state of the art where we are now? The answer was yes. I said, what about the EMS equipment and ambulances that we ride around in, and the care that we give to the patients? Is it on par with what the rest of the state is doing? The answer was yes. And I said, what about our policies? Do they reflect the latest of what we are expected to do when we arrive on the scene of an emergency? If we have NFPA embedded into our policy, are we following the latest NFPA standards? Are we following the latest MIM standard for the state of Maryland? And the answer was yes. And I said, so then you need to tell me, how are we 20 years behind another organization if we're running calls with the same type of apparatus, we're putting out fires with the same tools, we're treating patients with the same equipment, we're riding around in the apparatus that's modern, it's not antique? How are we 20 years behind? And they didn't have an answer. So then my next word of advice to this particular person was, don't trash the organization that you are currently working in. Find the good and embrace the good. And if there's room for improvement, which there always is, bring that to the senior staff with intelligence and with facts, not feelings, not emotion, because that doesn't get you anywhere. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're the type of person that just finds fault in the organization that you work for, go somewhere else, because all you're doing is bringing down the rest of the organization. Yes, there's always room for improvement. Yes, we do have bosses that suck. Eventually, they get worked out. But at the end of the day, the organization that you work for has an obligation to treat you with respect, and you have an obligation to treat your organization with respect. And if something's not right, work on making it better. We all have a voice in the fire service, and as long as you're exercising that voice with respect, coming from a place of respect, people are going to hear you. And if you're calm when you are delivering your concerns, people are going to listen to you. So, summing this all up, stop bitching about your organization and work on making it better. And if you can't make the entire organization better, if you're a battalion chief, make your battalion better. If you're a captain, make your shift better. If you're a paramedic and you're on a medic unit, make your unit better. If you're an engine company officer, make your engine better. Do what you can do to bring a little bit of positive change to where you can make that positive change instead of just sitting back and complaining. It's so easy to complain, but it's so difficult to actually take the bull by the horns and to make your organization better. So at the end of the day, stop bitching, make your organization better. You owe it to them. They hired you. Stop sucking. Do better. Thank you for listening.